MRAP in the middle layer, the intermediate layer. That layer is basically to help hide telegraphing nicks in the floor and imperfections and stuff like that. And MRAP's not going to like self-level. Single shot will self-level, you know, to an extent. It's not, you're not just going to pour it and it's going to roll out and put itself down. Squeegee. Yep. You use one of the notch squeegees depending on how thick you're going. I mean, just like doing a metallic, except you're just pretending it's an epoxy. Or you're pretending you're doing flake. You put it down like you're doing a flake floor, you roll it, you know, all that stuff. And then that's gonna kind of level out. Your low spots and high spots will somewhat level out. I mean, if you put it like pretty thick, it might even hide some of those. But most importantly, you're hiding any telegraphing nicks and imperfections. But most importantly, you're pigmenting all the layers, right? And then your high wear urethane is going to go on top of that, also pigmented white. So if someone gouges this floor, it's white all the way through. They probably won't even know they gouged it. You see this in like a lot of industrial settings. Sometimes people will sprinkle. So this is very similar. In an industrial setting, you might see this. Like there's a warehouse that this guy, so he basically did a neat floor, or you could say he did a single broadcast quartz, but they didn't do 100%. But it was pigmented, so it was basically a neat floor. Neat floor and single broadcast both telegraph about the same. So that's why they have additional layers in them. Now, theoretically, the neat floor might telegraph less because it has the single shot. It's going to kind of level out a little bit. You know, if I took that single shot out and then I put quartz in there, it basically have the same thing. Now, I mean, urethanes go down typically thinner than polyaspartics, but that's, I mean, I don't want to confuse you guys. Different. You wouldn't put a urethane on a direct to flake. You would just do polyaspartic. But urethane is really nice, very good high wear, and you can see that we put we basically made this satin. So what we did is we added AO, and if you look in this area, actually, if you look where you're sitting here, and especially right there, it is more glossy than the rest of the floor. And that's because I went extra thick there because the floor was really jacked up. So we were trying to flatten that out and hide all that, but I lost some of my satin sheen that I had basically put into it. So I mean, you can barely tell, but if you know you're looking for it, you'll see it. Metallics. This is why you guys are here. So independent MVB under metallic always. Always, always, unless you're on wood. That would be the only time you're not. All right?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Independent MVB underneath of every metallic, unless you're on wood. If you're on wood, you're probably on a second story, and there's not really any moisture coming through the wood because there's not dirt under it, right? So you'd use a flex system in that situation. But I always recommend MVB anyway, but especially under metallics. And then I would do single shot in my base coat color. You know, let's say, I'll go with the photo here. So black, pretty popular. Most people do black, white, or sometimes they'll do gray, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're doing a floor with a lot of white, you have to do white because white pigments are more see-through. And then, so okay, we'll talk about pigments for a second. So liquid pigment specifically, white liquid pigment is going to be more transparent and you will need more of it. So for, let's say, one kit of single shot or MRAP or whatever, I might need 1 jar of black. That jar is probably half full. If I was to do white, I might need 2 full jars. It depends, it depends on what you're trying to do, but that's the difference in black and white is the black is just more concentrated, more potent of a pigment, if that makes sense. So if you're doing anything white, you probably want to have 2 white layers. So some people under their white metallics, like over there, they might even do 2 solid white and then do a money coat with a lot of white in it. Or they just go extra on the pigments and then do some white because you might see through some of it. So just, put that in your pocket. And then I would do single shot reloaded. That is like liquid gold as far as epoxies go. That is probably the best epoxy I've ever touched. And then I would either do a urethane or I would do ballistics black label. Black Label is super easy, it's super good. We'll probably talk about ballistics here in a little bit when Corey comes back. Grind and seals. All right, so you can do grind and seals, which is that system over there, except you would, add a top coat to it. So you have 3 layers here. Let's say you have a super porous floor. I would do 3 layers versus 2. You can usually get away with 2 if it's not super porous, but if you know it's going to absorb a lot, you just add a layer. So Ballistaseal Advance is a pre-sealer, and this can go over, a lot of people put it over polish. You can actually burnish this if you have a burnisher. Basically, it's like, imagine taking that smoothing, fluffy piece to your car, and you're buffing your car like wax. Kind of like burnishing, I guess, kind of like that. Kind of describe it to you. But yeah, I mean, you can increase the sheen and the shine of a polish or something you didn't even polish with this system. You can put down this system and it's going to look like you polished it. Now, if you put this on an actual polish, it's like ridiculous. So this system is water-based. So you can dilute it up to 50% with water. So if I have a 1 gallon, I now have 2 gallons, right? And then I would put that down in 3 layers. So how you would put it down is I would probably, it's going to depend on your concrete. You can either dip and roll it, or not, excuse me, you can spray it and roll it, or you can spray it and mop it. So spraying it, mopping it is easier, but if your concrete is super porous, let's say I'm doing a clean and seal. I just cleaned the floor really good. I didn't grind it. I'm going to mop it. That floor's probably nice and smooth. And spray it, just mop it down. And there's not any rhyme or reason. It's super forgiving. You spray it and you just mop and go, right? If it's super porous, like ground it with 30s, and there's a lot of open pores, I'm not going to be able to mop that. It's going to be impossible. The mop's going to grab constantly. I'm probably going to rip little pieces of fibers out of the mop, and it's going to leave it in my floor. So I'll just spray it and I'll just roll it, and it's going to look the same. But also in that situation, if I grind it, I'm probably going to need that at least that 3rd layer, if not a 4th layer. This stuff is super quick, though. All these layers can be done in a single day. So talk about in and out and, quick jobs. I mean, you got like 30 minutes to an hour between layers.
Do you have a sample of something that you did, that you used the grind and seal on here?
That's kind of like a grind and seal / clean and seal, because we only grinded the glue off. So all 4 of those, yeah.
All those.
Yeah, you can color these or leave them clear. You can go over top of stains and dyes. You can go over top of polish. You can go over stencils in the floor. You can go over all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is a good stuff. So then, go ahead.
In the grind and seal, did you add a stain in there?
Mm-hmm.
So grind, stain, and then seal it?
Correct. Yeah, there's actually a really good video of one of our distributors. He's actually one of like a big time ballistics guy in, hey Megan, where's Nathan Janes out of? Minnesota. If you guys on the Epoxy Gods forum, we have a whole bunch of forums, or if you go on the ballistics forum, it's probably on there. This dude did a time lapse of him doing exactly that system you're talking about. They ground the whole floor. They went through, they stained it. It was like almost like a burnt orangey brown, and it honestly looked really good. I'm not big on the browns or the oranges, but he made it look good. So he actually did 2 passes of that, I do believe. He put that down, let it dry, and then he put down the Ballistaseal and just mopped it down, and then came back with Black Label, and that floor is beautiful. And it's a pretty big space, probably about as big as this room here, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe to the polish there. Time lapse. I mean, we have tons of videos and pictures of these processes on our forums. So that's definitely a good resource, like Corey was saying. Advance is a very, very good product. I love it. So the partner product to this would be the Pro. So if you're inside, I would do Advance. If you're outside, I would definitely do Pro. And Pro's even a little bit cheaper. And it's the same exact process, like exactly. I mean, you would just grind it, or let's say you're doing a walkway, and I'm just going to clean it. I would just pressure wash it. If I don't want to grind it, pressure wash it. You get one of those heads with the circle that spins, clean it off, let it dry out, Boom, there you go. Roll it on. Same process. Now we're going to get into more clean and seals, but a different version of the clean and seal. I'm sorry that's a little confusing. So if you have pavers, you have vertical surfaces, you have fireplaces. If you basically, so the difference is, I'm not I mean, you could pre-seal this. So if you're outside, you don't have to use black label. You could do single component over this. On this system here, I could put single component on that. But what I really like single component direct to pavers. Like that is, because it keeps the texture of the paver. It keeps the look of the paver. It doesn't look like, it doesn't have a film, right? It doesn't look super shiny now. It just looks wet all the time. But now it's antimicrobial, it's antifungal. It's not going to have moss growing in the pores. I mean, and we're talking quick, easy projects, quick.
So, how well would that work on something like grout?
On grout, I don't see why it wouldn't work. You just can make sure the grout's clean.
Right.
Yeah, if the grout's clean, then perfect. I think your hardest thing would be, well, what's in between the grout? You have tile or what? What kind of tile?
It could be any substrate. I was just thinking about other things.
Yeah, you could seal grout with this, absolutely.
Any of the tiles, like ceramic, whatever.
Yeah, any of those things that are going to get mold and just nasty things grown in them, this is your go-to. And there's no mixing with this. This is a single component product. It's also called single component. A little confusing, or maybe it's not confusing. Yeah, you just shake it up, go.
This one here is for interior. Is there one for exterior?
This can go anywhere. It was just an interior picture.
Gotcha.
So same thing right here. And that's a perfect example of what I was talking about. Like those, they look wet all the time. They look fresh. They look brand new. That's probably ancient.
What about slip resistance?
It's very slip resistant. So the whole ballistics line, all the ballistics products are very, so they're actually very slip resistant while wet. They're maybe even more so. So Squire, for example, which is the best one in my opinion to put on flake, hands down, probably the best thing to put on flake. It's the original. The original, it's a 3-component product, and it's not that hard to mix. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's not on the wall, unfortunately. No, the original. So that was the second iteration of it. The original is like the OG ballistics product. So when Corey came out with ballistics, that was the product. He like slammed it down on the table and was like, here you go. And then that's the one he was talking about, like went everywhere and everyone's using it. Like that's some good stuff, dude.
So brick won't soak it up?
Brick?
Brick.
Brick will soak it up.
Okay, so if I have a brick sidewall, no.
No, you just use the single component. It's designed to be soaked up. That's the whole point.
Oh,
It'll keep the texture of the brick without making like a huge film on it. Does that make sense? Because brick's going to expand and contract, so you don't want to make a film on it or anything like that. It's going to move. And you're not going to go out there and put flex space on a bunch of brick. You know what I'm saying? So I would just clean them really good, pressure wash them. You're probably going to, any sand that's in between the bricks or pavers, it's going to be gone. Just make sure you clean everything off, let it dry out, spray a single component down. Just don't overspray it. That's the biggest thing. All the ballistics products are going to be thin to win. So if you're like, used to doing things where you're putting down an amount that you can visibly see how thick it is, which when I first started, that's what I was doing. I was like, I'm used to putting down like 16 mils and 8 mils and all these different things, like thick, and I can see like a puddle moving around. Don't do that. This is thin to win. You're misting. You're misting.
Just the regular pumper?
Yeah, we sell it. We carry everything. Everything. It's like $12 for a sprayer. Thing is, don't recycle the sprayers. It's not worth it. So if you, one use and done. Yeah. Especially with these single component products like the counterattack and the single component, they'll just like annihilate the sprayer. So you just put it in there, get it done, and then dump it, anything you don't use, you put back into the bottle, keep the bottle, and then you trash that sprayer. So, but excellent stuff, dude. Yeah, and we might even, yeah. All right, surface prep. All right, so little breakdown. It's not exactly accurate because I kind of tried to separate the things, but really Meghan carries everything. But but I tried to separate the brands to kind of show you what the intention was between each brand. But really, Meghan's has all the things. Meghan carries all the brands. But surface prep, grinders, HEPA vacuums, diamond tooling, polishing, that's a major typo right there. Densifiers, stains, dyes. The help hotline, huge resource. If you're on a project and you're like, some crazy thing is happening, you're like, I've never seen this before, it's gonna happen. So I realized a long time ago that every project has some catastrophe or some issue to overcome. Every project. There's something bizarre is gonna happen. A bird flies into your floor or whatever, a lizard, or the rain's coming sideways and you made a teepee tarp but it's not working, or whatever the situation is. Just give us a call. I mean, the more obstacles you overcome, so look at it this way. If you're not having issues, you're not learning. So that's basically what my process was. I started out, I taught myself, I was teaching my guys at the same time. I actually was, go before, I was taught the wrong way by unnamed peoples. And then I was like, I realized it was the wrong way. So like, all right, I need to teach myself the correct way. So I did that, and this is way before I met Corey and Meghan's and all them. I didn't even know they were here. I was like over there in King George. And every project I was having these obstacles. And I was like, man, what in the world? Every project, there's something crazy. Guy kicks a bucket over here. I forget the rollers. Something, always something. And that's when I was like, all right, extra product, extra tools. And I would map everything out in my mind, and I would stage everything. Instead of unloading and loading every day, I was like, I'll just keep all my stuff in the truck. The only thing I'm loading each day is the chemicals, because I don't want them to be cold or hot. And so I had all the things, I had all the stuff to overcome the problems, and then I found Meghan's, and Nick became my resource. Nick, what do I do? Nick, what about this? This crazy thing happened, dude. And he's like, oh, yeah, just do this. And I was like, all right, cool. And eventually I overcame so many obstacles that I was on this floor one time, and something that happened on my third floor, which was just the worst thing that ever happened. It stopped the project. Well, it happened again, and my guy was like, just reached over, fixed it, and we didn't even stop. And I was like, and it dawned on me, I was like, I have overcome enough obstacles that they are no longer obstacles, because we are already planned for everything. So it can be frustrating, but you guys will, yeah, if you're not jumping hurdles, then you're not learning. So, and the more you jump in the beginning, the better off you'll be long run. Bulletproof resins, you got everything from the deep pores, you got MVBs, metallics, pigments, urethanes, polyureas, polyaspartics, any coating you could think of, we probably have it. Ballistics, all the top coats. So I think there's even more than what's on here, but I'm gonna name off some of them. You got Squire, and NCO, which are like the original two. Black Label. So Squire is good for like spray. Okay, if you were to put Squire on a metallic, you need to mop it. So basically, the reason for that is you need to break the surface tension. All right, and what that means is you got your little particles dropping, and they're not gonna reach out and connect. So you need to break the surface tension, right? It's the right amount of materials there, you just need to now connect them all. To kind of break, So think of it like this, epoxy only flows where epoxy is. So if I'm doing a countertop, and there's a bald spot over here, if I have a ton of material, it'll flow into it by gravity, but chances are I put down the correct amount and I don't have a ton. So it'll swoop around that. Let's say it's running off the edge and there's a bald spot. It's gonna continue to go around that bald spot, surface tension. I need to stick my finger in there and connect the dots. Connect the epoxy because it's only gonna flow where it is. So similar concept. Black Label is, all right, we are back to Squire. So if you're doing Squire and Flake, you don't mop it. It is an irregular surface, therefore it doesn't need to be mopped. There's not surface tension. The surface tension is broken upon contact. So Squire on Flake, so let's say you're going out, you're doing these jobs, and you're doing it, and you're like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, would you like to add some more protection? You want to add some slip resistance, you want to add some chemical resistance, antimicrobial, antifungal. The slip coefficient on Squire is like a 0.78 while wet. So I know that may not make sense to you guys, but that is a lot. That is like a ridiculous amount of slip coefficient. I can take right now, so basically it's so hydrophobic, it will displace the water in between the treads of your shoe while wet. You add that to the texture of that, I mean, that's I'm not gonna say slip proof because nothing is proof of anything. Nothing is anything proof. You don't use that word ever with a customer. Never say anything is anything proof. But I mean, that's as good as it gets right there. You can spill hydraulic fluid. You can spill anything from a car. So polyaspartics are not good against hydraulic fluids and acids. They will stain and mess them up. Ballistics, I mean, just this past weekend, I replaced both hub assemblies in my car, and I got fluids everywhere. I was spraying PB Blaster everywhere. I just wiped it up with water. You can't even tell. I think not even 2 weeks after I gave my dad his floor, I broke a jar of beets all over the floor. Beets stained everything. And I saw it, and I was like, man, I really wanted to eat those. But I was like, hey, Dad, why don't you come out here and look at this? And he's like, oh, no, my floor. And I was like, it's okay. Watch this. And I just wiped it up with a rag and some water, some warm water. So stuff is pretty good. Stealth Coat is kind of like, so the difference between Squire and NCO is Squire is extremely gloss, like super, super gloss. It'll take a gloss floor and make it even glossier. NCO is the opposite. NCO is like your more satin matte kind of look. Squire, once it's mixed, is good for 7 days, but 30 days in the fridge. I've personally had one last 6 months in the fridge. All right, we don't tell people that. We just tell them 30 days. NCO, once you mix it, you got like 6 hours to use it, or it's done. So don't mix it unless you're sure you're going to use it. Black Label, you don't mix. It's a single component. Stealth Coat is a 2-component, which Stealth Coat, yeah, it's there, and then the B's on a different shelf. I don't know why that is. Somebody moved it. The Stealth Coat is essentially like kind of like Squire or NCO, but it doesn't change your sheen. It will enhance the sheen that you already have, if that makes sense. So if you have like the perfect sheen, let's say you're doing like an overlay or something, you're like, I need to protect this. Maybe I got some advanced down on it or whatever. Like a lot of the overlays, you want to put advanced down to kind of seal them up. Because if you don't want to put Squire on something that's going to absorb it. If you're going to put a top coat ballistics direct to something that's going to absorb, you got to use single component. So I would seal it with advanced first, unless we're outside and I use pro. But then if I use Stealth Coat, it doesn't make it look like it's got water on it, but it'll still look wet and sealed. Counterattack's good for counters, especially good for vertical surfaces. Obliterate is a degreaser, very powerful degreaser. Entities of note. So there's way more entities in this industry than I could possibly put here. But the ASTM, the American Society for Testing and Materials, basically a bunch of engineers decided to get together and be like, this is going to be the rules that America now has to follow for any building and any process anywhere for anything. The book is like bajillion. Each individual ASTM is at like $83, and this industry alone has got like hundreds of them. So I mean, any cars, anything you can think of has got an ASTM on how to do it the correct way. And then a lot of things have third-party inspectors to go conduct ASTM tests on whether you did the other ASTM correctly, which is what I used to do for structural engineering. The American National Standards Institute, you got the American Concrete Institute. They are like the governing entity, like the end-all be-all for concrete. ICRI, the International Concrete Repair Institute, they got some excellent knowledge on there. Then you got the Association for Materials Protection and Performance. That's more like your third-party testing of coatings and stuff like that. And then you got Coatings College Trade School, first trade school of coatings in general, and decorative concrete. And any questions? All right. Let me see where Corey's at. That's my last slide right there. You guys need a 5-minute break for the bathroom? I'll be right back. You want to pause it?
I've got it on the break.
Okay.
Put a 3-minute break. Gives me a 1, a 3, and 5.
Okay. If you guys want to pass these around, look at these.
Oh, thank you.
That's some good pizza. I probably should let you guys look at these too. Cup wheel,
You just have to ask for the size. Why, I don't see. So what's the size of this?
24 inches.
24.
They're either 24 or 18.
Oh, okay.
So the cup wheels can be threaded like that, or they can be not threaded. I think this one is not threaded. So there's like all different adapters you guys can get. These are like resins and hybrids and all kinds of weird stuff here. These would be more like polishing things. There's other uses in between things. You can do stuff like that. This here is another resin, I think. These are called pucks. This is a metal puck. Oh, I'm spitting everywhere.
Now, how well do they do epoxy go on top of like a what you call it? Like an insulation board? I was thinking about
The pink foam insulation.
yeah, whatever color.
So people do that with showers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What you need to do
Lay
now,
it out on the floor first, or
I don't know if you could do it on the floor.
I mean, because I don't know if it's a different type of epoxy or is it the same?
It's the same, I believe. You just lay it down and then you stand it up in the shower. And then you gotta do your seams and stuff like that. Longevity wise, I don't know how good that bond is, but people are roughing it up with sandpaper or like an orbital or something, and then they're applying like layers of material with mesh tape, and like lots of it, and maybe even multiple times, and then they're doing like their money coat and then putting like ballistics on it, and then they're standing them up in showers.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, how the longevity of it. You know,
That I don't know. I have not. I have no knowledge on.
I had a couple people
Yeah.
ask me about it, but I'm like, I can't stand behind that.
I mean, what you're putting on it is stronger than what's behind it.
Exactly, and that's my thing. You lean up, you hit it the wrong way, you know.
Yeah, that I don't have an answer to that. I do know that a lot of people do it.
Say, just because a lot of people do it, don't make it
Yes.
right.
Yeah. So officially, we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't anyway. Corey might say, yeah, that's not a problem, but I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But I know the process, and I have the numbers and what some people charge for that written down somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I want to say it was like, actually, it should probably be higher than what I think he said, like $8 a foot vertically or something like that. But it probably should be more than that. That sounds like it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
So he was in a meeting. Let me go check on him again. So he was in a meeting. Let me go check on him again real quick.
It's just on the drywall, though, it's not. So what would you suggest I use? Because I need something that's kind of thin. Because I put a larger sink in, so now my space, the backsplash is gone. And I can't get it back.
As far as the thickness of the, you're using the one by, it depends on what you're using.
Okay.
So, so what type of guys who work on like rule of thumb
Yes.
kind of scenarios, and also like best practice, you know.
Well, the rule of thumbs are all the secret things. That's all. That's the stuff that matters most, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So when we're doing metallic, for example,
Mhm.
rule of thumb would be put MREP down.
Yes.
And what I'm hearing, and you know, I want to sell MREP at all, anytime I can, because that's going to protect my floor from failing.
Yes.
After the MRAP on metallic, it will then be my base, right? So whether it's white base, gray, black, whatever and then whoever I buy from, whether it's you, well, Meghan's is who I would buy from, would kind of give me some insight on that too, right? Like, hey, if you're gonna do this combination of metallic, get this base.
Yeah. If
So-
you're, or a good rule of thumb would be if I'm doing a dark floor, I want a dark base.
A dark base.
Or a light floor, I want a light base. And then
Okay.
you have like your mediums.
So then we go metallic. So however many colors that is, you know, we do that whole thing. Once now we come for the top, you have a couple different options. You have black label.
Mhm.
You have what else? That's a
Highway urethane.
highway urethane. And then, so what would be ours? So here's the rule of thumb. What would be like? You'll never go wrong with this top coat on metallic.
There's not really that. That doesn't exist.
Okay.
I would say it depends on the usage of the floor.
Okay.
So generally
Basement,
speaking,
let's say basement.
basement, okay, then you need to gauge your customer. Is this customer like in a wheelchair, wheeling around all the time, or is this customer just walking and they're just chilling? Is it like a bar in there and dudes are in there hanging out, or you know what I'm saying?
Or is it kids playing basketball down here and shooting hockey or whatever?
Exactly.
Okay.
If they're going to beat the out of it,
Yeah.
then get something thicker.
Like
If they're not, I like black label looks the best.
Okay.
Black
is
label is
that
going to give you.
thicker? Is that
That's the thinner one.
That's the thinner one.
That's so black label is going to have a really good slip resistance, really good chemical resistance, but it's the thin to win. So if they're like going to beat the crap out of the floor, I'll probably put a urethane on it.
The urethane.
Yeah.
And an example of the urethane that we sell is what?
MSD gloss.
Out of the list that you showed us a second ago, which one would it be?
I actually didn't show you a picture of the gloss.
Oh, you did have.
That's it right there, though. That is it right there.
Which one?
That box.
Oh, MSD. Okay, so it's a urethane. So for example, like when we do hardwood floors, we use a polyurethane, which is the most durable. We have water-based, which is like, it's nice. but it's
There's
not
an
good.
argument to be had that polyurethane is not a good top coat.
It's not.
Yeah, there's an argument against that. Like we had a guy from Germany come over. He does metallics all the time over there, and that's all they have for top coats is polyurethane. He's like, dude, we don't have ballistics, we don't have black label, we don't even have urethanes. All we have is the, well, I mean, okay, I take that back. Technically, that is a polyurethane.
Correct.
Technically, but I think he was insinuating a different than a urethane. He was like, apparently, whatever they have over there, like all the metallics get fucked like all the time. Like they look great for like 3 weeks, and then the customers are fucking them. And so like it's a thing over there. It's a problem. And he was like, dude, I need black label. And we were like, well, we're trying to get it there. Like we have all the countries around you, but like we just don't have Germany. Like we're trying to get it to Germany. He was like, I'm that guy. Like hook me up. And so that was like 2 years ago.
So
But
if it's gonna be dogged out, high traffic, I mean, then that's the urethane. That's the best one to go. It's gonna give me the gloss. Now, if I'm going with matte, if a customer wants, I don't want the shiny, I want
So-
something, then it's the
you're not gonna have. So you see, look at the reflection of the floor. You see the stippling.
yeah.
Like, since you're putting it on.
That's if you put urethane, you're gonna have that. If you're trying to get a glassed out floor, black label. That's the difference.
Because black label self-levels.
Correct.
Urethane,
I mean, it lays out. I wouldn't call it self-leveling. It lays out because it's thin to wind. It's not going to level anything, but it's going to lay itself.
okay.
Correct.
Okay. Urethane, once we squeegee it out,
Dip and roll.
dip and roll.
Dip and roll.
Okay.
Delicate
So it's
process.
just like if we're doing hardwood floors then. Because on hardwood floors, we apply it with rollers. Con rollers se aplica, ¿verdad? You're saying? Poly, yeah, we apply it with a roller.
Okay. I don't know if it's done the same way, but I imagine it's very similar. So you basically you dip it. If you have any kind of additive like aluminum oxide, in it, you don't press down. You just skim the top, and then gently roll it up the thing, and then you put it out.
Aluminum oxide on the metallic, right? Because it's
Aluminum oxide is a particle you would add to it. So like these specks you see in it, that's aluminum oxide.
on the clear. On the
It's in it.
top.
It's in the
To give
urethane.
it that, to give it more of a grip.
I mean, it kind of adds a grip, but more importantly, it adds. It actually adds a durability aspect to it, but in this scenario, it was done for a more satin look to kind of lessen the gloss. I just went too thick for it to do that.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, Corey would be give you a much better answer on
What
that.
are the guys that you guys sell to, and that I mean, the guys who are out here doing it, what are they usually like? What's 90% of them going to as a finish?
We sell a whole bunch of both, dude. We probably sell more black label than anything, as far as top coats.
Okay.
I mean,
And
technically,
then for this, top coat would be
Squire,
Squire,
polyaspartic Squire.
polyspartic.
Like if you Squire that, just obviously the biggest caveat is, don't ballistics anything unless you are done with it. If you're like, oh, there's a fuck up right there, I don't think the customer's gonna see it, and then you Squire it, and then they're like, man, that's ugly, you need to redo that. Removing Squire or any ballistics is not. It's a pain. It is designed to not ever come up. It's the end all be all top coat. So if you're like, I might have to unfuck this, figure that out and then do it, because I'm telling you right now, dude, it's not worth the remediation. It is a pain because that is designed to be spray it and walk away. Like that is designed to protect that floor from you doing exactly that.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. I want to know what we use. So we did a flake floor maybe like 4 weeks ago, and I just told them what it was. There was Nate over there at Meghan's, and
Nate?
either Nate or Nick. I thought his name was Nate, but now
There's a Nick. There's a
Nate,
Nathaniel in the
skinny
back.
guy.
Yeah, Nick, the skinny guy.
skinny guy.
Nathaniel's a huge tall guy in the back in the warehouse.
Okay.
Nick's probably the one on the phone.
Yeah, we got
Yeah, that's Nick.
tattoos and stuff.
Yeah, Nick's a cool dude.
Yeah. So he showed me the kit, just as one kit. You know, had the vapor barrier, had the flake, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really like versed as to what I was getting. He just told me this is what you need. I got you the slow cure. You know, you're gonna have work time for it. So I'm assuming I use polyspartic on the top.
Yeah, probably. Was it Fallout or Aftershock?
Fallout.
Yep. Fallout's perfect.
Okay.
Fallout's
So
very good.
Fallout is good for top coats on flake
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because that's a polyaspartic.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to get the name, trying to get it right.
Yeah, you're good.
So Fallout
Yeah.
doesn't work for metallic.
Technically, you could, but you're gonna have larger stimples.
Okay. It's designed for this rustic kind of application.
It's an irregular surface. You're not gonna see. So this is called orange peeling.
Yeah.
There's different variations of it. These are small, tighter orange peel. If you did poly direct over a smooth surface, you'll have bigger, larger orange peel. I mean, not always, but probably. That's probably what's gonna happen. So I mean, and you don't really want to go super thick with poly either. So I mean, I pull that with a flat flex. Corey uses the window squeeze. You get even tighter. It gets better margins and everything else. It just depends on what you're doing. I like to add beef to my top coat because I usually thin my base. Historically speaking, that's what I used to do anyway. But yeah, I mean, I also like to have all my materials be the same flow. I like to have everything to be about the same viscosity. You know, for each product, they're going to be different, but
I feel my face.
dude, Flake's actually pretty fun. Once you get the hang of it and you start blasting through floors, yeah, it's pretty good.
I think that's where we're gonna like start. I mean, ideally, like Corey was talking about, we want to get into the polishes, into the more commercialized deals.
Dude,
know what I
you
mean?
come to our trade school classes and
Well, I'm gonna try to get as much as I can, man. Like I told him, I want to stay local. I want to stay with the guys who know what's up, you know. And I want the team, because it's not just him. he's the lead, so he's gonna pretty much work with there's about 5 other guys, you know, that we
Okay.
have going. So the goal is to get deep in here, you know what I mean? Like learn
That's
all
what I
this
say.
stuff,
That's
you know.
my
But,
face. Just
but we were just talking. He was like, "Well, what's the?" Because we kind of try to think of a rule of thumb. If this, then that. If this, then that. Like that way we can start kind of identifying where how we're gonna do it.
Flake would be the best. Not only so if all your guys can learn this process and how to just manipulate coatings, that that understanding of how things can do and work translates to everything else, if that makes sense. So my two guys was actually my brother and my buddy. I taught them how to do this while teaching myself, and then it, you know, so we had like 3 years of doing that. We established our flow. They each knew, like I knew, like he's good at rolling, he's good at cutting. I mean, they were all cross trained. They could do all the things. If I was not there, they could handle it. But I would always squeegee, and so I was the best in that role. They were the best in those two roles. And if I switched them up, things weren't bad, but they weren't as good. So, but that was after 3 years of them doing the same thing over and over, and the flow of us three working together was like, I mean, perfect.
Dialed in.
It was absolutely dialed in, and then I tested that. We'd never did anything else, and then I was like, all right, here's this other coating, here's this other coating. They're like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, it's fine. You just do it like this, and then I literally had them doing it, and they were fine, dude, because they're all the coatings, they're very similar. You know what I'm saying? The way they move, the way they're applicated, and what things go wrong, it's all the same. You know what I'm saying? So they had never touched ballistics or any of these other things, the grind and seals, quartz, any of it. And then here I am throwing it at them, and they're just like, la da da, and it turned out great. And I was like, you guys made me really proud today. And they hadn't touched a material in like a year or two, so they were out of practice. So you get this process down, and you'll be good. And this is the most forgiving one.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would expect some f ups are gonna happen, and you're gonna have to eat some money.
We did.
It's gonna happen.
I took a big loss, but you know, like I tell them, it was like it was worth it because it taught me the difference between pop time and working time. Really quick.
Yeah.
It cost me $700 to learn
Yeah.
that lesson, but it was a lesson that okay, I learned it. You know, so
Yeah, I can. Yeah, just give us a call, man.
no,
call
yeah, I know,
call Nick or
I
call whoever.
Called Nick, I called them, and they left some stuff for me. I had to get it on Sunday because we got to go back to the job, and they left it like in a little, you know, the spot they leave it for contractors and whatnot. So it worked out good. It worked out good, and even here, me and what's the other guy? Anyways, the other guy that's over there, we just been kind of communicating. He's been coaching me through. So we got a couple things that you know we want to do, but I like the fact that I can hit you. You know, you're one phone call away. You're right up the street from my house, so it's like it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's just fun, dude. So I mean, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I like coatings. I don't like getting sticky all the time, but like I didn't even use gloves for like probably 2 years. I just didn't use gloves. The gloves I started with were like these giant Goliath hand gloves, and then they were like this too long, and it would fold back, and I ended up with all over my arms, my head, and my hat and hair, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? So I was like, forget the gloves. They come off anyway, and now I use gloves again. I don't wash my hands in it anymore, and I actually found out a trick. One of my guys came up with this. Put a glove on. I like the tight fitting gloves, not like so tight I can't move, but like form fitting. Put another glove over top of that. And if you get shit on that glove, you just pull that glove off. Now you're not putting a glove on with a sweaty hand. You have a dry glove, you just put another glove on. Always have extra glove in your pocket, have a rag in your back pocket, always have a 5-in-1 putty knife in this pocket, have a razor blade. If you want to get real deep in the weeds, you could have needle nose pliers in your pocket too. So if your cleat comes out, you can reach in there and grab it. When you clean your cleats, clean them clockwise so you don't loosen all your shit and they don't fall out on the floor. I've had that happen. I found that out like the second job. I figured that out. First job, all the cleats were good. Second job, cleats were falling apart all over the floor, and I was like, what is happening? So, you know.
Okay. You guys guys sell the cleats?
Sell everything. Everything, bro.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. That's what I like too. I don't have to order it from somewhere and have to wait for shit. I can just go pick it up.
Yeah. Just remember extra. So I don't know. Sometimes some like Nick will probably add just barely extra, and I don't know about the other guys if they're giving you exact or not.
We
Get-
screwed up.
Well, I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm saying have extra.
Sure.
Regardless.
Yeah.
If he's like
What
you
I
need.
talked to Nick about was like having like a wholesale account where we could just buy more.
Oh
Just
yeah.
have some at the warehouse I have. That's why I asked you about the climate control, because I have a space that is climate control. So I was just thinking about just having, just more so for this stuff. Have the base and wrap and top coat.
Just your liquids.
Yeah, the liquids, right?
Yeah. The flake can be wherever as long as it doesn't get wet.
Yeah.
If the flake gets wet, done. Don't keep wet flake. If you have a bunch of recycled flake and you guys are starting to throw it and you're grabbing clumps, it's done. Don't just give me another box. Give me that extra box over there. This one's dry. Don't scrape and then collect.
Don't scrape and then collect.
Yes. So if I throw a bunch of extra on the floor, when I come back, I'm blowing it all into one corner. I'm collecting it. That is perfect. It's good. I'm putting it right back in the box. As long as not a bunch of leaves and bugs in it, it's good. Chances are, if I'm doing a flake, if there's leaves in it, it's probably fine to use anyway. But that's so we call that reclaim. The difference is you see this online. They roll in there, and the video is them pushing a massive pile of flake with the scraper. They have destroyed all that flake, and it is now different particle sizes. So now you're going to have inconsistencies in your floor. You're going to have a patch here. It's a bunch of crumbs. You're going to have different amounts of material getting absorbed all over the floor. Don't do it. It blows my mind that you see these videos. Yeah. You show up, blow it on the corner, scoop it up.
Put it back in.
Yep.
And then scrape, and that whatever I scrape was garbage.
Yep.
Got it.
And then just vacuum the floor.
Got it.
Technically, you can blow the floor and be good, but I would vacuum it. That would be the correct thing to do. Yeah. Scrape it 4 ways. So what I'll do is I'll take the scraper, I set it down about my arm's weight pressure, and I'm not super angled, so I'm like gouging. You don't want to gouge because you have a big dip. You're gonna gouge at the corner. So I have it at an angle. I'm just gliding across the top, taking off the pieces that are sticking up too far. I walk down, and then let's say I'm okay. Here's my garage. Let's say I'm here. I might start on this over here, but now once I'm one length out, I'm gonna go down. When I get here, I'm gonna stop, and I'm just gonna switch hands and go right back in the same spot. So I'm not trying to figure out where my line's at, because the first person to scrape the first direction going down, or I guess the first 2 directions, you can see there's a clear path. When you're doing the other 2 directions, there's not a path. You don't see shit. So you go down, plant your feet, just flip it over and go back. And then same thing, go down and go back. You'll see people like, you don't need to do all that. You just arm pressure, walk down. That's all you need. I'll do that with a blunt fucking piece of metal, dude. Doesn't need to be some super blade. Doesn't need anything crazy. They have really good scrapers at Meghan's.
I just got
Use whatever. That's what I used for the longest time. I had like rusty fucking Home Depot blades. It is what it is. As long as they're not fucked up. I like the blue steel. Blue steel's a little flexible. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. It's still pretty easy, man. Once you figure all the little tiny nuances, it's like super easy. I mean, and flake can be very quick money, can be very easy money. I think the most important thing is surface prep. I can't stress that enough. And around here, the concrete's very hard. So you need to get the softest tools, have as much weight as possible, and grind slowly. So Corey might even talk about that. So if you're grinding, I'll go ahead and give you a little bit. So if you're grinding, you'll start to chew down a little bit. You want to keep it moving a little bit. You don't want to just hold it still, then you'll just dig a hole. You kind of keep it moving a little bit, real slow. If it's super super hard, then you can not move as fast. Let it chew, and then you'll like move an inch, and you'll feel the difference in the vibration. and then it'll go away. And then you move an inch, and then you feel it again, and then it goes away. You're making a ledge, and then you're working that ledge.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So same thing with polishing. He actually has like a pattern he grinds in with polish.
Okay.
So that's not really as necessary with this. As long as it's ground, it's ground.
Sure.
It just needs to be profiled. And that is a big issue around here. Like, it's a big issue all over the country, honestly, but especially places with hard concrete, people are not profiling. They're just zipping the floors. It's good. Okay, just because the machine touched the concrete doesn't mean the concrete is ready to accept the coating. And lawsuit, yeah.
At least I've seen people here in this area
Mm-hmm.
be able to pull this up like a sheet.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
literally a whole sheet just come up.
That's the thing.
Is that because that's because it's not making that proper bond?
Correct.
Because the surface prep.
Yeah, if you have a mechanical CSP 2 to 3 that is cleaned out and not full of, not packed with dust, because when you grind and vacuum, you are packing dust. You need to make sure you get as much of that out as possible. It will be physically impossible to do that. If done appropriately, it will be impossible to do that. I would be able to go in there with an alcometer and pull it, and the concrete should fail underneath of it. So,
Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna get on my machine for you guys. So, that's the plan at least. That's what I talked about with.
yeah, if you can afford it, I would get a good big profiling machine, and then get a small edging machine. You should have 7-inch.
We have the 7-inch.
Yeah, but I'm saying besides the hand machines,
Okay.
you can get a small Rhino that can do the fucking edges, so it can lessen your hand grinding.
Gotcha.
On the flip side, if it's hard, you know,
May gotta get in there and get to it.
you might just have to do that, yeah. But the 7 is way better than this 5. You will get a lot further. 5 can reach in places the 7 can't get, but generally speaking, production-wise, the 7 is going to make it a lot easier on your guys.
Walk behind.
7-inch hand grinder, Metabo hand grinder, like
Yeah,
on
yeah,
your.
yeah, on your knees. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have one of those.
Yeah.
We have one of those. We just don't have the big boy.
The big walk behind.
The walk behind.
To get the biggest one you can get. Biggest you can get.
As big as I can afford.
Yeah, yeah. I know. That's what I'm saying. The bigger, the better, dude. That's when I started. I had a little 11-inch walk behind Edco. If I was in Florida, I'd have been great. Around here, I might as well have been taking sandpaper to the floor. I had 0 head pressure. I would have a mountain of buckets and bags on the front of it, and I just couldn't cut shit. It was a nightmare. I hand ground most floors at that point in time. That sucks.
Just because you needed that pressure and
I just needed it to be profiled.
get profile.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm spending 4 days grinding and
You losing money.
I'm losing lots of money. So, and that's what ended up happening many times for me. The Edco, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, fuck this machine. I got a little Lavina. I'm running both of them. They're both tiny. Not cutting anything. I'm like, and my guys look at me. They're like, dude, we're gonna have to hand grind this. I'm like, oh fuck. And that's what we do. We would spend the next 3 days hand grinding the whole thing. It would be profiled though. None of my floors ever failed. I have had 0 calls. So that's all that matters. But get a rack attack. Ask Nick about a rack attack.
Rack attack.
It's like a little scooter thing. It's got knee things for your
Oh
knee.
yeah, I've seen it.
Oh.
I've seen it.
It's like $300, but it is worth every fucking penny, bro.
Has a little chair in it.
Yeah, I ended up, my guys ended up going off and doing other things. I started doing all the floors myself. And then, they ended up, I was having a hard time, dude. This is years and years ago. I was having such a hard time. They were tired of hand grinding everything. They're like, dude, fuck this. We're going to go be electricians or whatever. And I'm like, that's fine. Go on. I can do the floor myself. I can do 1,000 feet alone, and I'm fine. And it sucks, but I get it done. And I didn't have a rack attack, and it got to the point I broke one of my machines. It got short circuited and shit from I had a whole slew of things all go wrong at the same time. So I'm like, all right, I need to hand grind this floor. And then I had 2 more boom boom lined up, and I was like, all right. I was like, oh man, I gotta hand grind those 2 now. So I did. I hand ground I don't know, probably 3,000 feet in a week and a half. And I was like, oh my God, my back hurts. Yeah, I was in pain, so I went in. I was like, Nick, give me that Recatec. He was like, all right. I've been looking at it for like 2 years now. I was like, I just don't have. I'm $300. I need to spend it over here. And oh man, it was the best thing I ever bought, bro. You roll around, you scooter all around like. Yeah, yeah. The bigger the machine, the right tools makes all the difference. So if you got a real tiny machine, you're gonna have our time.
Yeah. We did a shop blast a few weeks ago, and I think the thing that we ran into was the vacuum didn't have that suction ability. So a lot of my pellets were being left behind. I had a lot of dust being collected in the shop blast. I didn't have a vacuum pulling strong enough.
There's a chart. There's a chart you can look up.
Yeah.
I think maybe go slightly above what the chart says.
Yeah.
As I read,
I think the vacuum I was using was like at 70 CFM.
that sounds extremely low.
230.
I think that's 230. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be the minimum I would say, probably for most things. There's like a little Metabo you can get for hand grinding. It's only good on hard concrete because you're using soft. You're way too much dust. I mean, you're like digging to China. You're like trying. If you're hand grinding soft concrete, you're like trying to hold it in the air so you're not digging. And if you're not holding it perfectly flat, you're gonna have rings everywhere. I figured that out real quick. But luckily, flake hides a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah.
So, but if you need to go along the edge, get it in a line, hold it flat if you can. If you're not getting that bit at the edge, just slightly cant it. Don't grind at an angle all the time. You'll wear out your gears. Just slightly lift and just go along the edge. If you need to lift, do that. If you don't need to lift because it's not like a weird angle against the wall, it is nice and flat. You can just hold it flat. You're gonna have a line, the width of that blade off the wall, that you need to just do this and work it out. Nice big circles. It'll smooth all it out as long as you're holding it flat. All right, let me see if he's done now. I'm done with the slideshow.
Done with cycle?
Yeah, I was done a while ago.
I was just listening to everything you were saying.
Oh, just now?
I'm listening to you right now as we speak.
Oh.
But
Was I saying bad things?
I have it playing in the background, so I'm like,
Oh.
you said burnt orangey brown just now. Not big on
No,
the
that
browns
was-
or the oranges. I'm listening back. I'm like,
Oh, that was-
because I was talking to you.
I was talking about Nathan Jane's
I said
video.
Minnesota, Montana.
Oh, she was
I
still.
know. Yeah, I'm just.
Oh, there's cookies. Oh, yes. All right. Well, what should we do? Should I? It's
coming.
2:23. Okay.
Yeah. Probably need to get them.
Okay. There's cookies. If you guys don't eat them, I'm gonna eat them all. I am the Cookie Monster. Corey's gonna be out here in just a second. And
What kind of board did you all use to do that design on? Is that
that is just on the wall.
just the wall itself?
That's a Venetian plaster. We have plasters for that too. I want to say those are intermediate level. I forgot to mention that in the tour actually. Also, I forgot to mention this whole wall here was done by a local tattoo artist, freehand. Tattoos, or Corey's personal tattoo guy, super cool guy. He did all that for just freehand, which is crazy. And he's coming back, and he's going to do this whole section in here, the Alex Gray theme. Alex Gray being the abstract artist you see in like Tools, does Tools artwork. He does a bunch of other artwork, kind of trippy stuff. But I mean, that guy got some talent. You guys want to learn about some waves? How to make beaches real quick? We're just waiting for Corey to come out. So beaches and waves, it's actually super easy. This one's pretty cool. I don't know who made that one. Um, actually, I think Isaiah did that one. But this one over here, I made this like 5 years ago. So basically, this was a board. The board itself was painted without taking away the texture. You know, it's one of these like super rough boards. And since it's just like a wall piece, it didn't really need a whole lot of extra work. So basically, blue epoxy, a different color blue, kind of a bluish green, and then clear epoxy here, and I sprinkled this sand on top of it. You know, a lot of the other people that were doing these at the same time poured the epoxy on top of their media, and then like when they did something, it like all fell off. So you want to put your media in, not pour on top of your media. Does that make sense?
With the media.
Media would be like your sand, your quartz, or whatever. This was in a class. I was taking the class, and you know, I mean, at this point now, I was taking any class I could get. I was like, I want to learn all the things. I want to learn everyone else's tricks. Give me all the knowledge. And I was the only person who did it that way. And mine looked the best. But to get these right here, so this was all, I think these were all micas, and then the white was a liquid pigment. And basically, so you came back with a clear layer on top. There is some white waves in here. I'm getting ahead of myself. So when I did the blues and the greens, everyone else was like swirling them with a stick. I took a heat gun and blew them together. Because it's more like water, you know, water's not waving around with a stick, right? I'm like, air moves. The closest thing to how water moves is air that I can manipulate. So I did it like that. My first layer looked more realistic than anyone else's, and I was like, all right, I'm doing something right. And the next layer was clear, and then we did a little bit of white here. You know, I just kind of, I might have had some of the foamy waves in the last one, but not a lot. I did a lot on this one, and then I blew them around, and then I spritzed them with some alcohol, and I blew them around again. Not getting so close or staying in one spot for too long, because you don't want to heat it up too much. And if you see all these dimples, that is too much alcohol. But that was a clear layer. So same principle applies here that it's on that floor over there, except for the clear layer over there has like an insane amount of glow-in-the-dark pigment. Like that floor over there, it's probably the brightest thing in here at night, except for the sign. And then stuff like this, you just want to encapsulate. I didn't know better, but I didn't really encapsulate these. I kind of made sure they were stuck, but then some of them broke out, not encapsulated, so they're weaker. This would be perfect for a wall piece. Now, if you want to do like a backsplash in a kitchen, take your boards. I would probably do MDF. This is a pretty heavy board here, but MDF, yeah. Let's say I'm doing, this is my countertop. I would just be like, all right, I need this many MDF boards, cut them all to size, fit them, and then don't attach them to the wall. You set them down in the same spot, do your pour in your countertop, and in the same mix, or at the same time as if that's part of the counter, do the other pieces. And then when it's all cured, they'll all match. If you do a pour, and then I come back and I'm like, all right, I need to recreate that pour now, it's gonna be a little different. Does that make sense? So that's what I would recommend.
But that's what I need to do. So how would I do it? Like measure where the line comes up and say, okay, this is the first board, it's 7 inches, and the line from the counter starts, you know, coming up at 3 inches. So do I like put a little dot or something saying, okay, at 3 inches